Good evening, everyone. This is the Finance Committee for June. We're sorry we're running a few minutes behind from curriculum. To get started, we have a packed agenda of a lot of contract approvals, which comes up this time of the year. We will get started with the bill list. Any of my fellow board members, if you've had a chance to review, have any questions on the bill list?
I just have one.
Yes.
Thing Aiden those. I feel like we have talked about this, but I don't remember what Aiden those. I just saw
Yeah.
it in a lot, under a lot of names.
So this is the time of the year that typically comes up. It's for parents who send their children to schools outside of Monroe. They get transportation aid and lieu. So you will see that if they have a single child going out of district, it'll be something like $500. Correct me, Laura, if it's multiple.
Yes, it's 1,100 a year.
You all speak louder.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So it's for parents who are sending the children.
They
out
get
of-
reimbursement for their transportation since they are taking their own children.
It's done once a year or twice a year?
Twice a year.
Twice.
Yes.
So it's usually June and December, if I'm not mistaken. Does that sound right to you? December, maybe February.
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
Any other questions on the bill list? We did also have a lot of tuition and reimbursements for the staff in this bill list that I had confirmed with Dr. Chanley, all the credit checks and all have been made, and now
It's probably a triple check system, if not a quadruple check system, before it even gets to be paid. There is a system of everybody who is responsible to confirm the appropriate documentation is there before there is any sign off for the reimbursement.
And so the total of the checks for this period is about $10 million. I'm gonna get the big, 10,085,598 is what the finance committee is moving along. And then if there are any addendums,
There will be an addendum.
as always.
Most definitely.
All right. The next item on the agenda is the attorney invoice for April. Any questions? Yes, Mr. Bureau.
So when Mr. Gagliardi comes to our board meetings, it costs us $1,000 for your meeting.
It depends on the hours. He bills us
So
by
I
the
mean,
hour.
last meeting, the bill was 1,000.
I said it's an hourly rate.
Do we really need to have an attorney at the meeting?
Yes.
Yes?
We do,
Okay.
we do.
Okay. That's my only question.
Yes.
I would have to agree with Ms. Fabian on that we do need an attorney in the meeting. And in the past, we used to have our in-house attorney. Such as a meeting. All right. Any other questions on the attorney invoice? Moving on. Ms. Allen, is there a particular order you would like me to go through with the contract or just start one by one? Wait, there is, sorry, no, I'm sorry. The next agenda item is the lease purchase. Do you want to speak to that?
Yes. Okay, so, so this, for the 24-25 lease purchase of equipment, these items have all been, included in the budget. We've been going through the budget expense rounds, and so they're included in our approved budget, and with the appropriate factors. We do this every year. So it's a 5-year lease, and we try to fit anything we can into that, usually on buses, and computer equipment. So, every year we do this, so as 1 year drops, a new one, comes along. So payments remain pretty steady in the budget, which is a good thing. So this year we have a lot of computer equipment, copiers, instructional equipment, maintenance plow trucks, security systems, water bottle refilling stations at all the schools. That's become quite a popular thing. HVAC at Brookside, a sign at the high school if it is approved, we can take that off. AEDs that for the ones that live. Security golf car, and 2 transportation vans. So that brings us to, it's about $2.2 million. We include the inflationary percentage, just the contingency of 5%. So it'd be $2.3 million.
I sit up
Lease
there.
purchase.
I can, I sit close.
I'm so sorry, we don't have microphones for committee meeting.
But she said.
Would you
Yes.
like to come closer, Mr. Arminio?
It's 1,000.
Yes.
So
Need to be disruptive, but I come here to hear
No, that's all right.
Projecting one's voice is an art, I guess all of us have.
Some of us are really good
We're
at
really
it.
good at
the. I apologize for being loud.
Go ahead.
okay, so the timeline for this would be, we would ask for board approval next week. There'll be a resolution. We'll have an advertisement. July 23rd, we would have the financing bid opening. The bond attorney. July 31st, we would have asked for board approval of the bid award resolution. And then August 7th, thereabouts, we would have the legal closing financing, and we could begin to spend the money in these streets.
Yes, go ahead.
So a security golf cart, is that a brand new one?
Yes,
There's 22,000 for one.
yes, yes.
See, you could go to, so the golf cart at the high school was purchased in my work. And what we did is we went to the golf cart company in Farmingdale. What they do is, say 48 Country Club leases 50 brand new golf carts. And it's like a car. In 3 years, it comes back there and it's brand new. And they changed the batteries, and I want to say we paid like 5,000 or 6,000. If you buy a brand new, one, like you could easily go there and just ask them, like they do all the country clubs in the area. And then you could get a golf cart, I mean,
Isn't it conclusion?
probably for half that price, and the thing would basically be like almost brand new. I mean, that's a lot of money for.
Yeah, I was just gonna question that too. So the one golf cart for 22,000, if you've done that in the past, then.
We can look into it, right?
We've done it in the past.
And I think I would like to also comment that is, I've been here 3 years and every year we don't do it. So every year it's on there, every year we take it off.
The one at the
But if
high
you're
school.
taking off, we should look at the cheaper.
And if Mr. Selby contacts Pete Plaskett in Woodward,
One.
I believe somebody, I found a place to repeat. I think one of his wife's husband or son is a manager or boss at this place. And I was pricing a new one, and he said to me, so we took a ride out there and we were amazed at savings. And
It's
because
great.
we're from Monroe, they even give us another discount.
Okay.
So
The high school sign, has that been pushed forward by the BGTNS?
Yeah, we want to talk
Yeah,
about
it's-
cost.
talked about it and I'm gonna find out, because Mr. Page said if we leased it, it would only be.
That's her.
a year.
The lease goes to her. That's the question. So
If we leased it, is it like 5,000 years?
So the 55,000 is a total, correct? And it's a 5-year lease, is that correct?
11,000.
11,000 a year.
Yeah.
And my other suggestion is like, Ms. Chandler said, is maybe we should, and before we go through with that, is maybe talk to the Education Foundation. I was gonna reach out to a couple of the very big local businesses,
To see if we can get a donation.
Costco's.
I have a question regarding that. Could we, to not waste time, because it's been almost 2 school years for the children, I mean,
Yeah.
let's be honest, could we, and this is a question probably for her, I don't know the law, could we put it in our lease purchase, if we agree, spend the money, and then, legally allowed as a donation to take the reimbursement to put back? How does that work?
Yeah, we could do that.
Because then we won't waste time. Are you okay with that, Pete?
Yeah, no, I'm fine.
Because I do agree with you, I think,
Maybe we could,
even if they only had
It's
5,000, let's
definitely
say,
a
10,000.
need.
I agree.
The cost
It's time.
is what is questionable right now.
Right, so if we do it this way, we say it's 11,000, but let me ask you another question. So if we do it that way, and let's say we come up, I'm gonna come up with a number, $20,000. Let's say of the $55,000 cost, we are able to reimburse, for lack of a better term, $20,000. How do we pay ourselves back? Like, in other words, are you allowed to give extra money so it comes off, so there's no interest on a lease purchase?
Like, right.
Are we committed?
the car loan earlier.
Yeah, we could do that, or, if something else were to arise, a need for, something, or something.
Right.
Here,
Okay.
we have that option.
So I think if you're okay with that, I like the idea because we're not waiting, but we're still doing our due diligence to try and get the funds from other resources. I think that makes sense if you're okay with it, because he's the head of BG&T and finance.
No,
So if it comes from your.
Makes sense, right?
yeah, I think it makes sense. And like I said, I think if we reach out to some
We
avenues,
might be able to get some monies,
like you said, even if we got 10,000 things.
whatever. Right.
It's still.
Right, and then this way, it's not costing us the money up front, but I do think it's something that's just been belabored and left there, and it's not good for the community. And we could also use it, we also talked about that too. I think Mr. Payne brought it up, right? That if we go to the communities, I don't know if there's any communities that would want to contribute, and then we could see how we can put it on the sign, or, however, you never know where you can get money from, you just never know, so.
Maybe a little plaque on the bottom, if somebody wants.
Or maybe a little.
Yeah, why not?
So at least we'll go forward with that.
The water bottle refilling station, there was a grant for it.
Yes, there
up
was.
until last year.
Correct.
So this year, this money is gonna cover different buildings?
Yes,
Yes.
like, I think every school, I think it's 15 different, water filling stations, so it's
Across the district.
across the district.
And we try to, Ms. Trust, did get involved, and they still continue to write grants. We had some success in the past. Water, as you know, especially it all started out originally, is a big issue to make sure that we have the water refilling stations. So at this juncture, we looked at it, and everybody had in the budget. We asked them to please take it out of the budget, and we gave it to Laura as one cost so that we could look at it as a lease purchase, because lease purchase allows us to get things that we normally would have to say no to. That's why the cart was never in here before. We always said no. So that's why the water station, but we will continue 100% to still write the grants. We haven't had any additional success other than, we did have a grant 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah. It's computer equipment, iPads.
No,
There are some iPads.
but not our refresh.
Chromebook is not a big refresh.
That's something.
That's our big one next year.
So the refresh, Mr. Bureau, is finance throughout it. So historically, it's been a 3-year piece. We extended 1 year this year. We're gonna cover any damages on our own.
Yeah.
We calculated the risk based on the historical. iPads are much more durable than they used to be, especially in the first few years. So to self-insure, we can repair what our historical numbers show for much less than having a full self-insured piece. But next year, we're looking, and Mr. Feldman actually analyzed battery life, because that will be the number one issue for us, is if they don't last the full entire school day. So we analyzed that. He has no concerns about battery life for this year, but we will be on schedule to refresh. He prepared for this year for a refresh and looked at a couple different models as well as 3 and 4 year plans. So we intend to present a 4-year plan next year. We don't know the models and prices yet because that'll be a next year model piece, but they have a 4-year insurance piece that we will be on board with. So that
That
will
we
be,
know when he's gonna, because I'd like him to not only check, I'd like to compare the price to iPads, so it makes a different device.
yep, and he actually's done a lot of that work already.
Schools.
Because he just did an updated technology plan, which is going to be presented, and that is in there.
Yep, and he looked at that and, the Chromebooks that we use at the elementary level, aren't the ones that we would necessarily
Use it at the high school.
cover here, because the ones at the elementary schools are in one location, they don't go home with each other, the students, so.
I know a lot of districts use Chromebooks.
Right, so an apple-to-apple comparison from what he showed us initially is that they're very comparable prices now, whereas the iPads used to be much more
Very
expensive.
worse. Okay.
They've come down, and the Chromebook we would need, or another device that's come up. So we're relatively stable, especially with the infrastructure, but adoption time, he'll come and he'll share all the research and the data.
And when he shares his technology plan, which makes sense, because the plan should drive what we do. So the technology plan will then drive it, and then we're gonna look at what it's gonna cost us, because we were lucky last year in that regard, because we didn't have to. We went the extra year, the 4 years instead of 3.
And that's a conversation for a future program.
Correct.
Yep.
Coming back to the instruction equipment, 77,000,
Yeah.
that's good.
So I could tell you guys.
Thank you.
That's, okay, we have a French horn, a tuba, a piano, office laminator, body mics, sound show parks, sousaphone, field hockey goals, a lightning detection system, and a Polaris Ranger crew, to be used for athletics. So that
So-
amounts to seven.
I'm peeking through this.
No, not a water ski.
That's
No,
instructional.
Yes,
Yeah, that kind of goes in there. It's for the, it's.
yes, it's instructional because the children utilize it.
Except for the Polaris. The Polaris would be for employees who can't have the Polaris.
Well, it's not for the kids, but it's for this, like, the sports, like after school.
Yeah, they use them next door. for
Yeah.
athletic.
Yeah.
It's considered instructional because it's not utilized, it's utilized for the children.
A lot of these things, and I'm peeking at your,
Oh,
at the line items, and all. So they're not purchased every year.
Correct.
Correct.
The body mic seems to be a big.
And I can talk on that. if you want
50,000.
to. Body mics, so what's happening is if we don't purchase and make the attempt, we're not saying it's the way to go, we're giving it our best. We analyze the cost of the body mics for our shows. We're very proud of our shows, both in middle and high school, as you know. When we have to utilize and bring in, read sounds, the cost is astronomical. The expense, they are all, union, if that's the right word, right, union? Okay,
Yeah.
so I want to make sure I'm, I don't know if it's association or union, they're all union employees. We have no ability to in any way discuss cost. Their cost is their cost. It is extremely ridiculously expensive. So purchasing the body mics, and we don't know if it's gonna work, because we don't know the length, the longevity, but what we sat down and we had a meeting. We actually had a big meeting on this, believe it or not, a big meeting. Mr. Snyder was there as well, Mr. Maraldo, Dr. Lehman, to really say, okay, let's really look at, pennies and dollars. Let's look at cost. Let's look at utilization. We are a little concerned. We're not gonna say no of the wear and tear, lack of a better term, wear and tear usage, but we feel like we have to do our due diligence to make an effort to stop spending money that we don't have anything to show for. Because we're paying A, B, C, D, and E employees, thank you, and they're coming, they're miking us up, they're leaving. And they're leaving for $100,000, 80, like ridiculous numbers between everything, and we have nothing. So we're hoping by bringing them in and purchasing them, that we'll
We
own them.
don't own any body mics. I thought we had some.
We had 4 or something, it's a very small number of
I don't know the
items.
inventory. I know, like when I was at Woodland, we had one body. mic.
Yeah, I mean, very small inventory.
Regular, but we didn't have a reason to have them.
Mhm.
I know the pack here, I don't believe has anybody.
Has any.
Regular, there may be some lingering from over there from years and years ago. But
So we were just, we're just
Okay.
it was just it was.
trying to think out of the box. How can we stop spending money that we have nothing to show for?
Well, and it's,
The rent for sound show?
Sound show.
What is
Sound
that?
show, we have, I think we have a part.
We have a part of it.
Part of it or something, that we has a second part.
Correct.
What really is that?
Shouldn't the music department know what their inventory is, like, the people
they
that?
know.
They know. Well, we don't want to, yeah, and we don't
We don't
have,
know what they have. We don't have the numbers.
body mics. I would be surprised if they had a handful. I don't even think they have 2 or 3.
They know what they have.
Yeah, because we
They-
pay
it's
sound
stored
every year.
properly, and so they have an inventory. What we're saying is,
We want to add to it. so we
when
don't
when
have
it
to pay
comes
other
to, at least what Mr. Snyder was saying,
Yes.
and
It is costly to rent,
There.
for sure.
Very close.
when you put on the performances like Shrek Junior, the high school musicals and things like that, Reed is charging for the service for them to come in as well as renting each individual.
And don't forget the minimum. So for example, let's just say we have a 6th grade show. It's very small, low key, right? So 6th graders, they have a minimum of 3 to 4 hours. And we need you for an hour and a half, but they're charging us because everything is union, prevailing wage and all that. It's very expensive.
But
We
we'll,
discussed this last year.
Yeah, last year.
staff will be trained on, like, hooking the people up.
Oh,
so
yes.
They'll be able to
Yes.
complete the task. If we
Yes.
buy the mics, they're gonna be able to complete the task and then make sure that
That,
they're
that,
collected
Yes.
afterwards.
that's what Mr. Snyder was saying, is if the capital goes out to get this, then we do it on our own.
On our own.
That money is probably
It
recouped in,
lasts longer.
recouped in 1 or 1.5 shows
Shows. So expensive.
relative to what we do. So,
Yeah.
So Reed's, I know Reed's on as a contract.
Yes.
Because
But is there anyone else we can use?
not to my knowledge.
We did that.
We tried this
We
already.
did that last year. We looked at another.
Yeah, I remember us.
But
Yes.
Find anybody else.
Yeah.
They were only using Reed Sound for
Well, they weren't using Reed Sound in the high school here for years. They were only using Reed Sound. in the
So I know we had the same concerns last year with regards to.
I think,
town and the
I
fall.
think, Mr. Piro, we had employees and staff members at the high
high
school level.
That did it, so they didn't.
And they also have a manager, for lack of a better term, Pat, they have
But
different
there are some events
opportunities.
that we manage.
Yes,
Internally,
right.
and then for some, we, you know.
And the whole town contract, it's only as needed, which is great. If we need you, we pay you. If we don't need you, we don't pay you.
So we set up a process, like if we're gonna have an elementary band concert,
Mhm.
Reed Sound is not coming in for
Nope.
an elementary band concert.
But they were,
If we're having a high school play or the middle school play, that's where Reed Sound gets involved. So there, there's
Yeah, and I
case by case.
It's
Yes,
like 10 hours,
right.
like right here, $65 for 10 minimum,
10 minimum.
10 hours per stagehand.
And then-
Everything's basically, we're paying them 10 hours if the show's 2 hours.
100%. And that was something I couldn't live with. I couldn't understand it. So then we started to think out of the box. And then we even had conversations, which we didn't go through right now. Can we give a stipend? And then would we have to create it? Would it have to be a sidebar? Would it be part of the MTA to one of our own people
Right, but even still, I think
that we can
we're-
train to then be a Reed Sound individual? Because they're very expensive and they have the right to do the 10 hours because they're union.
When we did the comparison last year, I clearly remember it was all the same, and then it came out to who is trustable with our
Our
equipment
equipment.
and our auditorium, and they were the ones that our staff
So-
felt comfortable.
And so it's a step in the direction of becoming completely, not
Self-sufficient.
self-reliant, self-equipped.
But until
we're not
we
there
get a
yet.
Contract in place. for
Correct.
whenever we need.
Absolutely.
I want to come back to the lease purchase of equipment, and I just want to clarify, so for whatever we just questioned, Ms. Allen,
Yes.
how does that go into the board agenda? I know that you have a timeline for it,
Yes.
so what do we do?
I would say, why don't we leave we're gonna leave the sign in, right?
Yes, but we're gonna try and get some
Take out
money.
The security guard.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, so I will adjust that, and then tomorrow I will have the bond chairman. It's information heard, she can, this is the resolution.
For next Wednesday,
Do
right?
that tomorrow in the board meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, board email. We don't do mail.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And, I'm going to take Mr. Piro's suggestion, which I think is excellent, and I'm gonna speak with Mr. Selby. And I'll just have him reach out, to Klaskin and to Pete and say, help us, because I think that's great, because if that's the case, because I keep on taking it out of the budget. I keep on saying we don't have the money, and keep on taking it out.
Well, at this cost, we could get a Tesla right now, so I don't understand paying that for a golf.
Get a Tesla?
Yes.
Oh, I don't-
These days.
Oh, I don't know. Okay.
But coming back to the point, if there is a better alternative, a golf cart should not be, that big a ticket for, we should look for other solutions. So the next item on the agenda is
High school.
Sally.
Do you want to speak on it, Ms. Fabiano? You want me to speak on it?
I will take the bullet.
You take the bullet.
Good, you do.
I know, I
Because
Because
we're very sad, and we're very sad,
We're all very sad.
very sad.
And I, as a parent of a rising senior, am the most sad. But I would, if I was asked to vote on it, I would vote no. So I'm going to share with the public that we had very proudly moved our graduation to Rutgers for 2024, 2025 class, senior class of 2025.
Very
We
excited.
just got the news of the cost difference because Rutgers upped their prices by 33%. Am I right?
100%, 33% total increase. We were never
From
there.
last year.
All the people that have utilized their facility are paying, if they choose to, 33% more.
So the cost difference at this point is 15,000 for Trenton versus $42,000
So we can't.
for Rutgers.
So,
So unfortunately, as our commitment to the public.
Fiscal
public
accountability.
agrees, as much as I am going to be a parent of a senior next year and as excited as I was, I do not think this board can take the decision.
but I have something positive to say.
Oh, please, Ms. Dr. Stanley.
The date doesn't change. So thank goodness we confirmed that we were smart enough to book both places. I want to thank Dr. Higgins.
Yes.
We booked both places and it's still our place and it is what it is. And it's a beautiful ceremony. It's a beautiful ceremony. So even though we are a little sad because we were very excited about it being Middlesex County and so many of our children go to Rutgers, we were so excited, but you can't spend that kind of money.
We do not have the
But
luxury
that
to
take
spend
it
that
along.
money.
But we're gonna end on a positive note. The same day the calendar's planned.
Same day, June 20th, is when school will.
So that's a good thing.
At least it has, so this is,
It's good.
thank you for the positive.
Yes, we need positive.
So that was that agenda.
Okay.
I took it. Annual contracts, we have a whole list of them, and I do know that I have quite a few questions, so we will get started. Ms. Allen, is there a particular order you would like to go in?
Do you want me to?
Just run through them, so we are saying out all the names out loud. If anybody has any questions from the committee, they can ask you, and then I do know I have questions.
Okay, yes, so we have 39 contracts here. Okay, jump here,
Maybe if we can start with anything new.
anything there.
Are these
Yeah.
all renewals, or
Yeah.
because anything new should probably be discussed first?
So we have two new contracts. One is for, got it. SysCloud, which is a cloud backup application that will be used to back up our staff and students' Office 365 and Google data. Microsoft and Google do not guarantee data recovery if their servers encounter issues. Therefore, it's crucial for the district to secure our important data with a third-party vendor. Currently, we use Backupify for our backups, but SysCloud offers the same service at almost half the cost and features a more intuitive and faster backend interface. And thanks to Mr. Feldman for providing this, and getting this for a much less cost.
Excellent. So we are going into a new contract to save money. We already had a cloud backup.
Yes,
What's the?
We were doing it.
so it was, 14,000 less. So it's a really great savings, yes. And the other new contract on here is integrated care concepts and consultation.
Yes.
And that is for, student that's hospitalized, they provide the educational service. We do have one, it's only for one student at this point who is, being hospitalized. So that's, and if we've got any in the future.
So my question with that is that we do have similar contracts, right, for students that are hospitalized and we provide educational services through that period. Is this determined by this, the services that is, like, is this a new contract because they were the only people that could provide that kind of service to the student?
I'm not, so Ms. Relic gives us this, she provides this, and I don't know if it's because it's a particular hospital, because we have another one that works with CHOP, so it might just be this specific hospital.
All right.
And she's probably,
So at this point, you're doing this because there's a need.
you're the one, which is, yeah, yeah. So those are the two, everything else is a renewal.
Okay.
Okay, so. There's things. Okay, Jump Perry, the audit, same, as last year, except for an hourly, fee increase of $5 to $10.
That's the audio,
That's the auditor.
but we, I thought that audio's presentation I feel was horrible. I don't think she explained anything. Every auditor that I've seen over the years here came in and gave us like a book with information and showed us graphs and things, and that one that came here and got up at the podium.
It's the same one as last year.
That is correct, it's the same.
Did you,
But we look for, maybe it's different, like the auditors I thought we had before that one. But the last.
Well, did we have the same order 3 years in a row?
No, we had, this is the second year for them.
Oh, second year.
Years, we had HFA, and before that, we had, Jerry Stankiewicz
Yeah.
for many years. Yeah.
But could we look at maybe comparable pricing for others and different example? Is that possible?
so compared to last year, what's the cost difference?
It's the same cost, except if we need, and we don't use them for anything extra, if we didn't use them for extra services, it's $5 to $10 an hour. But the $55,000 is for the audit, that's what.
And this will be the third year that we would use that?
Correct, this is the second year of using that jump.
The second time we
Right, before it was filmed, it was filmed, yeah, three hours, right, I remember.
Oh, he's the one that
So this will be the second audit that they'll do for us,
correct, they did one.
and the superior asking to evaluate other.
Look for different auditors and just get pricing before we hire this person back.
So, we could do an RFP, and get quotes. The only thing is, it is, it is, we did this before, you know, this time of year. It's literally only because they're starting to do work and schedule all of their city boards and everything. So if you wish to do that.
Can we also, if we, thinking about what it is you're asking for, could we, I don't want to use the word demand, but could we tell them our expectations? So we could say, we didn't have a problem with the audit. Let's say we believe that the audit was done appropriately. However, for purposes of transparency to our community and to board members' liking, here's our expectation. We want to see, as part of the presentation, we want to see graphs, we want to see comparisons. So some of the things that you liked on the previous auditors, we can demand of them.
That person that works for us, so we can present them anything.
I mean, I think it's a fair,
Is it a big deal to?
yeah, she's saying the timing wise, they've already started working.
No, I mean, they haven't started working on this yet. It just, they've asked, they started.
So could we, now what we do, like advertise?
Yeah, we could request.
It's an RFP.
Okay, so is that possible to do that? And just-
How would that work time wise, Ms. Allen?
Only because our board meeting is.
July 31st.
And that's pretty late. But, we can certainly do it in.
Now, how would that, so if that's the case, and so you do the RFP, and then you bring it back to the board. So then if July 1st, 31st, they're confirmed, let's just say, someone you know, well, not somebody you know, but let's say there's somebody you know, how does that work with your timing of the way that audit works?
Yeah, because this does not say, it says audit fee for 2024, 2025. So when does the audit really start typically? Have they started the work?
They had reached out to me to start in June, like start maybe towards the
As
end
soon
of
as
the
the
month,
books
or even before the book's supposed to get some preliminary work done. So they would want to come in end of June, we can fly, and then they.
We can.
When we put, if we were to put the RFP out, how long would it take to get that?
So we could advertise for 20 days, so, and, you know, like by time to some. Only because the time getting it into them. So,
And we don't want to delay the audit, but do you think it's worth,
Well,
Just-
if we completed it this year, then before next year's,
we do, right?
so we do that. I'm fine with that if we could.
Right, in fact, we should start that process sooner, like.
And
towards the
maybe
end of the
have
year.
expectations, maybe have some additional expectations of what he's asking for.
Right, next year.
Next year, we go for a
Right,
different.
start functioning.
So maybe you can have a meeting with the auditor and say that some of the, you know, the board members felt that perhaps the presentation was lacking and that we want more substance to the presentation to have a better idea, whether it be comparisons, models, graphs. I mean, that's what they do for a living, so they should do that. And then maybe we'll want to be pleased. I don't know, maybe Ms. Bureau be like, oh my God, they did a great job.
Presentation.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Walk up, put in, say, what's the time? Or every other one, be like a PowerPoint. Just something, so.
Maybe a point of comparisons between the years.
I agree with Mr. Pruitt. I think we should start new. If we can extend for next 30 days being in finance and audit for 30 days, it allows us to extend. As just Ms. Allen said, June is the time, but I think we can do it like if it, you know, we all agree that July 31st, we can start looking for a new audit to start new. And give us, give them our expectation, what exactly we are looking for. Graph is one thing, but more in detail.
Yes.
So we know the audit is done correctly, transparency is there, as everyone is looking for it, talking for it, so I agree, I mean.
I think they were saying.
Are you saying with the same provider with, what's the name?
With the-
Jumpin' Terry,
Well, I think their concern was that we didn't have the time this year.
to get a new auditor this year. So what we are talking about now is that put clear expectations for the audit with the current provider, current.
And then
CPA.
start looking in March or February, January,
we can do that also, or in meantime, we can extend for next 30 days until July, if it allows, I don't know.
Well, I think I think this locks us in to start the audit.
Yeah.
So once we sign this.
And given that we have,
Our expectations to the.
And I think, and if we're not happy, then start really early and find someone new for next year.
Yeah.
Next year, you know what I mean? This year, next year.
Okay.
I agree with the council saying what our expectations are.
Absolutely.
I mean, we know they follow the guidelines by law because they have to, but that's not the same thing as what they present to the public. And a
that
public,
would be a little bit more detailed.
100%,
And in, terms that the public.
layman
understands.
language and have an understanding.
And more graphical, more visual than just.
I've watched 12 years of auditors and every year was like, I was like bored, but I learned it. And then this year, when the lady got up there, I was like, wait,
That's
that
it,
was
so-
our audit, like. We spent 5 minutes at the mic thing. Didn't really do anything.
Okay.
Spent a lot of money for that. so
Yeah.
We should get a price.
Yes.
All right. So next, it's Porzio, board attorney. He has raised his rates $15 an hour, so it's now $225 an hour for the partner and $155 an hour for Paris.
I like to do the same thing. with-
We already have.
So we did, in a pre-meeting, Mr. Bureau, we had the discussion about, looking for better price quotes.
Okay.
So we do want to have continuation of service, and next week is a meeting, so we're going to go ahead and move this contract along,
Which can be,
which can be,
we
we have an exit clause that allows up to 2 minutes.
at any time.
Anytime, okay, perfect.
So
We're aware of it.
Dr. Shanley and Ms. Allen confirmed that.
Yes.
And because of that reason, we are comfortable saying that, all right, let's just have continuity of service while we're not around for,
And the conversation stemmed from, just in public transparency, it stems from, again, financial concerns.
financial.
And we just want to make sure we are being fiscally responsible with the money we're entrusted with. And as it's mentioned, the rates have gone up, and we just need to explore whether there are other options out there that are.
Comparable services.
Yes.
Exactly.
Next, diligent, board docs, same as last year. I'll just go, if you have any questions.
Yeah, we'll start.
Genesis, student information system, backup service, et cetera, 36,000, same as last year. Final site, which is formerly Board Blackboard Connect. That's,
You just change the
they
name.
changed the name, and I think it was the same thing last year. So that's up about $2,600. Total 44,000. Strauss Esme,
Can I pause you there? So final site went up. But did they improve? So like, again, this is something that we struggle with, Blackboard Connect. Is that right? This is,
Yeah.
So,
did they?
so that's the website.
Yeah, okay.
And our Blackboard Connect, our communications, both of which have been bought out and changed names and are rebranding. And one of the projects over the summer is to totally review the website.
Yep.
So that will be new. And then the communication system integrates with the website and is much more mobile friendly, much more user friendly. So that's, I believe, what's embedded. I didn't look at that contract. I don't have it up in front of me. I did look at it.
The first one is $43,000 for
Yep.
July 2024.
Yep.
And so just to reiterate, it's not just rebranding, but it's also a revamped product.
Yes,
Yeah, I mean, it's a whole new.
upgraded is the
But
next,
we
totally
need a revamp.
Website is gonna look totally different.
different.
So we are
Take
gonna,
the summer to do it.
we're gonna transition to, in this transition, we get to choose one new template.
Okay,
So, they're in the process. Mr. Feldman has a transition time laid out with the company. It's about an 8 to 10 week piece, and they're already in the process of all the behind the scenes stuff, kind of working through it. So the website over the summer will look totally different.
excellent.
We'll be able to integrate other things. And it's, this company that we're using right now doesn't exist anymore.
Yep.
So
Okay,
it's moved to a new company, and in that process, They're
Upgrade.
giving us a free
I'm not
template change.
surprised you're in Harlem.
Yeah, they're giving us a free template change and we're gonna hop all over it and we're taking it.
We did, exactly. But, is there a cost difference here from what we were paying before?
$2,600.
Anybody else has any questions on this?
Okay, Strauss Esme, the policy alert and support is up, is 51.55, it's up $190. We talked about SysCloud, ESCMJ is the coordinated transportation services, that's a prorated contract cost plus the 5% administration fee. Warren County Special Services, same thing, and we only use it if necessary. Correct. Needed.
It's just an option.
It's just there,
Yes.
yeah. Brunswick Urgent Care, that's the school physicians, that's $15,000 plus additional services, that's up to $3,000.
And we've been with them for how long?
Since we got rid of the personalized doctor, you know what I mean? We used to have the other doctor, so,
Our nurses, and I'm happy with that.
yeah, we utilize with Family ID. We
Yeah.
deal with Ms. Romalta because Alicia's like a lead nurse. He seems pleased. I want to say we switched, gosh, you think it's that long? 7 years ago?
We've stayed with
It definitely pre-COVID, so maybe even 8 years ago.
And we've stayed with Brunswick.
Yes. And we haven't had, no parent complaints about timing or anything for physicals for the children, for sports or anything.
The next several ones, I'm not going to there's a lot of different rates, so I'm not going to read them.
Yeah, no.
They're special services, stepping stones for nursing related services, behavior therapy associates for treatment evaluation, consulting and training, the speech tree for speech therapy services, Silvergate prep for homebound instruction, advanced psychiatric care for evaluations, learning tree multicultural for child study and team evaluations, advancing opportunities for assistive technology services, CCL therapy for occupational therapy services, Delta T group for behavioral health care, J and B therapy for related services, EPIC for special ed staffing, Center for Behavioral Health for evaluations, Monmouth Ocean Educational Services Commission for aids, instructional and transportation, FunFit Therapy for physical therapy services and evaluations, United Therapy Solutions for related services, we talked about that. DI Group Architects, they're the architecture. Again, they have different rates. McCabe Environmental for environmental services, various rates. Johnson and Urban Consulting Engineers, various rates. Environmental Safety Management Company is the air quality management and the POSHA compliance, $175 an hour and no increase over last year. Edwards Engineering, Consulting Engineers and land surveyors at various rates. Harrison
I want to
Hamlin,
pause you there, Ms. Allen. The Edward Engineering Group, they charge an additional $650 for any public meeting that they've come to. I did not see that in DIG or any other, engineering contract. So have we called them before?
No. no, we've not
We
taken.
called
that's just a-
DIG. so-
DIG is our service professional, and he comes, he doesn't charge.
They don't charge extra. This
Right.
is an option that
That's
they
my
have.
question. They don't, right? Because that's.
And we don't, and we like to respect Mr. Tague because he knows what he's doing and his first priority, we DIG group to the middle school way back when. So I think it's always there as how we like an option. If there's anything perhaps above and beyond what DIG group would do and we needed them, we could utilize them. That's why we approved their contract.
And I think they would like planning board meetings and such, and that's probably why they have that in there.
That, right. But I
We
don't,
don't-
we haven't
pay
used,
anybody.
I don't think we've used them since I've been used them. No, it doesn't sound.
Okay. Harrison Hamnet, consulting structural engineers, Reed Sound, and lighting and audio. Sharon Ferrero, sign language interpreter, no increase, it's $200 a meeting. And we still, Carolyn Countryman, physical therapist at $80 an hour, no increase. Diane Allender, educational evaluations, no increase. Maureen Sutter, educational evaluations, no increase. EFA, Energy for America, 0.6% increase. And Dearborn renewal for insurance, life insurance.
Going back to the Energy for America, what are we using them for? Is there no overlap with ESIP, the Honeywell?
No, so the way it works right now is for Energy for America, is the company, they're not even in New Jersey, it's the company that we utilize that, they keep our schools at a certain temperature and there's some, how can I say this, cash givebacks? Am I saying that right? How do you say it? Rebates.
Energy savings.
Energy savings.
Since they are 24/7.
It's very different than what ESIP's gonna be.
Controlling our temperatures.
Yes.
So they have units in our buildings, like how
They have
they
the control, yes,
They turn them on and turn them off.
That's
So
correct.
If the school's closed in the summer, say like,
Yeah.
we're not using Barclay Brook for anything, then at a certain time, all the air units go off. And sometimes they stay off all weekend, they'll only come on, and then if you're gonna have a special event at school, you usually call Mr. Dave will send them an email, or somebody send them an email and say, hey, they're using the school on Saturday from 2 to 6, so please turn the air on in the morning. So it'll be cool weekend in the school,
And-
otherwise it shuts.
I don't know if they shut off completely or
It's all
they
computerized.
have to utilize it at a certain
It's all
temperature.
computerized, yeah, when you get to a certain time.
Right, exactly, it goes on.
Be taken over with, we still sit like that.
Yeah, so that's my
Eventually that'll-
question.
Eventually. when
It should fall under the ESIP, shouldn't it be like?
No, but-
Energy saving.
No, it's not the same.
This year,
I was gonna say.
we would still need them. Mr. Tay will be meeting with them,
Anyway,
Honeywell next week to,
See what
discuss
they-
like the interface in the future after.
and then it's like-
Yeah.
And
I don't know, because we'd have to, Mr. Tate will definitely meet with Honeywell because one's a company that comes in and evaluates the usage and how it should be done. The other company is a regulatory company. So depending upon if we stick with Honeywell, if that's the service that they offer, where they take it over, but in the meanwhile, we're not paying it, it's not double, it's not double pay.
The ultimate goal with Honeywell is that they look at like integrating our system.
Our own system.
Integrating and updating our systems so that they become one
Correct.
integrated process, and that
Right.
will ultimately be our own hub.
Correct,
somewhere
but right now we
we're not-
still need, right now we still
Right,
need
we're
them.
not there yet.
No.
We're not there.
And we may not be there for,
I hope you're there early soon. But so what this company is doing is it's virtually managing our,
and the cost, it's rebates. It's actually based upon the amount of energy you utilize. Is rebate the right word? Would you agree, Ms. Allen?
I just think it's one thing, just a guaranteed savings.
Guaranteed savings, similar to like what we have food, right?
their cost has gone up how much?
They estimate saving us
70 grand,
says 70,
Seventy.
says
$70,000.
we estimate an increase.
They've gone up.
No, they saved us 70,000.
So they have a 3% annual rate increase, but they also provided credit for the middle school PAC building where the connection was down for most of the 23-24
Correct.
contract period.
Which is fixed now.
About a 0.6% increase over last year, so
Yeah.
very, very much.
So we pay them for a service and in turn they save us money. Similar to Honeywell, but Honeywell's gonna make us self-sufficient, like you said. Right.
You have another meeting.
We can-
All right, so, did we go through all of the contracts?
I think we did.
we did,
Yeah.
right?
And the other meeting's very short, so
All right,
we'll
so
catch
I
up.
am you definitely.
No.
So thank you so much. Laura.
thank
Anybody
you.
has any questions? Yes, sure.
I would like the sound to start looking at moving the election from April to November next year. I think that, I can't see us asking the taxpayers for more money. Another question. They just gave us 5 million, and they gave us 2.
So,
So I think that the right thing to do is that we move the election back to November. At least we're saving another 98 to 100,000. And we just do the best we can to make sure we stay within the budget. And I believe there may be a bill passed soon, well, actually two. One is you may be able to go over cap, they're saying, because a lot of districts are losing 40, 50, 60 teachers. And then the second one I heard is that they're working on another bill now that's supposed to be signed soon, where you could put a question on in November. You don't have to do a special election. That you could put the question on the ballot in November for the following year as
that was always
to
the
try to
case.
save
That was always the case. We could put a ballot question in November for the following
following
year.
year. So if
But
we,
not for this
Now,
year.
well, right, I think the.
But in complete transparency, we did already make the ask from Dr. Chanley and Ms. Allen to bring out we're probably going to have in August a budget development session, which is much sooner than previous year.
Yes.
Because for us to make that decision of moving from April to November, we need to know that we're able to balance our budget in April. Because if, otherwise, that April election still allows us to be able to go out for a question instead of making that, which is something that the board needs to get information on
Yeah,
and then decide.
A question would be prudent.
But I know, from, right at the offset,
As a taxpayer,
that's how all of
I
us would
think,
think.
if you're bringing it up, I think it helps to, keep this in our minds that if we want to move the election to November, then this is what it's going to look
and how
like.
much time do we need to move it?
We don't have to make a decision on moving it
Till
until,
December.
60 days before
Right,
the
so-
election.
February.
Yes.
So we
Oh.
can agree.
So basically, the
So-
first step would be,
Conversation.
from a finance perspective, the first step would be to start looking at what our budget is looking
Well,
like.
we already started. We did every
And
meeting.
which they've started, and the board should see that information as early as August, so that we can start thinking as the board,
What to do?
what is
Right.
it that we want to do? In terms of how are we going to
And I-
handle the district's need?
And I think when we look at this, I think something that we keep on talking about is we were very blessed and we thank the community for passing it. And that was to keep programs that we have. If we have if we are over the 2% cap, it will no longer be keeping these extra programs. It will be then non-maintaining. So it could be employees.
The busing.
It could be employees, it could be programs that currently exist, robotics, music, and I'm not saying that's what it'll be, we don't know, we have to look, so I think we want to be extremely
Right.
transparent and and we want to be very well educated, so that's why we already started our due diligence, because,
Also, that 2% cap, I don't think Monroe qualifies. They're bringing it back for districts
Not
that
us.
lost their
State aid.
funding. We never lost it.
'Cause we never got
They
it.
never gave it to us to
first
start
place.
with. So we need other channels, or we need legislatures to go out and fight for us and ask the same for us,
Yes.
which is a whole other conversation that this board
Yeah,
needs to work on together to do.
and it is an appropriate conversation, I agree, because in August,
Yeah, I think I do agree that it's
I
good
do
to
agree
put it
with
out there
Mr.
that
Fuller,
it's
yeah.
what, no,
That's a
we
good
have all
point.
spoken about this
Yep.
already,
We have.
saying that
Yes.
we would like to avoid going out to another section of the public, and if we.
Absolutely. If we can avoid that, we have to
Save them
avoid
on
that, but
staff.
not at the cost of education.
Sure, right?
But
That's what
this
we
year's question wasn't only for the cost of education, it was cost of for security.
but
There was a lot of things.
yeah, but busing needs to we have to find out from legal also, to find out anything that was in the question, if it needs to remain, because now it's part of our budget. We have to confirm, we started asking questions of the lawyer already, to say, this was in the question, so therefore it's now part of our budget and we can't take it away. So if, for example, busing or pay to play is not an option, I'm not saying it is, I don't know for sure, but if it's not an option, then we have to start looking at courses that we offer, programs, and employees.
I'm 99% sure, I looked into this before that. Like, not busing, you're only required by state law for 2 miles to the school. So,
No,
yeah,
you're right.
you don't have, no district has to do courtesy busing. That's why a lot of districts actually stop doing it and
Wasn't that?
You're right, but
transporting people to like sporting events and other things. I know we give a lot of luxuries here and I'd love to continue.
no, you're 100% right, but in the essence of time, I'll tell you what this conversation, because we passed a question
Yeah.
asking the taxpayer.
Can't take it away.
Now there's a legality of whether we.
No,
that
continue it.
that money needs to continue to be
Continue
allocated.
after
that, or
next
it
year.
can Be moved to, because that is what is allowing us to start at a higher level next year and then go to the 2%. But that money, that cannot be reallocated to staffing.
We don't get that money
So it's.
the following year.
It's a permanent package.
No, it's a permanent
That's
increase,
why,
It's a permanent increase?
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it may have to be
Oh, I
utilized.
thought it was for 1 year.
No,
It's a permanent base budget increase, but now the
Start at a
question
higher
is.
level now and 2% at a higher level.
Ah,
Instead
so
of,
we're actually gonna be ahead of the game.
We will be, but the only complication here is, are we supposed to only use that money for sports and?
No, I get what you're saying. I didn't know. it was-
Which is what they have to.
And even though you'd want to think from a budgeting perspective that we're starting even, we're not, because health cost is going up. And then the money that we have to, rightfully so, as per the contract, goes to the teachers. So that's what we're currently working on, so we can have a clear, even if it's just a projection, in August to do our presentation to say where we are at that moment to see, because if we're over the 2% based upon still having the 2.7, something has to give. You can't go forward if we don't have the money, and whether it be staffing or programs, we have a lot of, you're right, we have a lot of fantastic programs here. Music, robotics, computer science, we have what a lot of districts don't have.
So in conclusion, I want to summarize for the public that the board has already started to discuss moving the election back to November to save the money. At the same time, the board is very cognizant of the fact that our budget constraints have not disappeared. There are rising costs to everything. So we've made the ask of the administration to start the budget philosophy earlier this year so that we have an idea of where we stand. We don't have a crystal ball to know exactly what it's going to look like, but if we have an idea, the ability to be able to change that by going out to public only exists in April for the next budget year. So the board is not deciding anything today. The board is only seeking information at this point. We have time.
Question, for healthcare, are you allowed to?
Yes, we want to avoid, we want to be
Ask
honest.
the public for more money.
Yeah, so he just asked a question,
Are you
Sal.
allowed to go over the 2%?
So there is that healthcare waiver, which depends on basically the state rate is going to be. So we won't even really know that until, I think it's the end of January.
But there's a chance if we
There is,
need
so
it
it
for
could be-
healthcare, we could.
Some,
We always use that.
What we utilize.
That's always you.
Right, but I guess the scary thing is
We
if the
don't have
state,
any-
I don't even know the numbers, but if the state says,
10%.
and they do 20, then we only do the 10. I'm not saying 20, you know what I'm saying? So we don't know.
I would suggest maybe speaking with the township business administrator and maybe talk about like combining the healthcare. Like maybe we would get a better rate and the town would get a better rate. If instead of 400 employees here, 800 here, one healthcare company is going to get 1,200 employees.
Do they utilize the same company as us?
The town doesn't have to save money. And when
And then we couldn't do it because we're in contracts.
when the contract's.
Oh, yeah, 2 years.
When-
We are out of time. The other committee is
Yeah, we're
meeting.
I was just
We're
wondering,
waiting to meet.
Let's have it.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for your time.
you had like 1,200 people.